Welcome everyone to In the Conversation podcast. I am your host, Amaya, or Amaya J. Some of y'all call me Amaya J. Very few people actually. A lot of people call me Amaya. If you're looking at the spelling of my name, some people would say Amia, but it is Amaya. So welcome to In the Conversation with Maya. The original podcast name was going to be Conversations with Maya. And then, the name needed to be taken out. So it's called In the Conversation. And in the conversation, we have conversations within conversations. So essentially, there are different conversations I've been wanting to have, different thoughts, different posts I see, different things that come to mind. And I find myself in my thoughts sometimes and wanting to have a platform to express myself or express my thoughts or my viewpoints on a particular thing. And the best way I think to do that is by starting a podcast. And the crazy thing is I teach online podcasting. I teach people how to create their own podcast, what to do, the equipment. And I'm just now starting it a year later, but it's okay because this will kind of go along with the kind of subject line we're doing today. But just a little intro about me. So I reside here in Georgia. I am first and foremost a believer of Jesus Christ. I am a Christian, so I believe in God, the all-knowing, one and only God, the Holy Bible. So please understand the things that we talk about in this podcast whenever I have a chance and however I can incorporate biblical principles and teachings and things that I've learned into the podcast. I am definitely going to apply as needed. I am a videographer and editor. I work full time from home. I am a dance fitness instructor. I love dancing. I have been dancing since church. So my sisters and I grew up in the church, and our first intro to dancing was praise dancing. And my parents, they did praise dance in the church and were the worship leaders and whatnot. So dancing has been a part of my life. So I teach dance fitness in my free time. What I really like to do in my free time is kind of, I would say, strange because I'm working on this thing called taking breaks, and I'm the type of person that likes to be productive. But the dangerous thing when you become overly productive is you don't know how to sit down and actually have fun. So I've been working on relaxing more and trying to watch TV. I have a hard time watching TV. My attention span gets thrown off or I just get bored. So I have TVs in my house that I barely use, and they may get watched maybe once a week and I go to sleep. But I love working out. I love dancing. I love staying active. I always have different ideas. Right now I'm learning how to braid. I'm learning how to cornrow. And that's another thing I want to talk about, getting into new skill sets. But I really am getting to that point where I'm trying different things. I went horseback riding this year. I did indoor rock climbing. So I'm becoming semi-adventurous outside of work. So that's the good thing. So that's like a little brief rundown about me. Again, this podcast, I just have like different conversations, different quotes, different things I've learned, whether it's in my personal life, things I've grown up, things I've been through, my testimony, just a bunch of different things. I wanted to get like a jar and put all my topics in and then just draw it out each podcast. But today's podcast is just going to be on just starting. That's literally the podcast. So the interesting thing was I have been wanting to start a podcast probably a little bit over a year ago, like I said. And I was a part of a ministry called Lift, and one of the ladies within the women's ministry group, at that time, I can't remember if I was having conversations or I was basically saying I want to start a podcast. I don't remember, but I knew that I needed the equipment. And so, like anything, it costs money. So at that time, I remember She had one of the women in the group, she reached out to me and she had asked me what my Cash App was. And I gave it to her and she basically sewed into me, and I literally used those funds to get the podcast equipment. And so God is good. He knows how to provide and whatnot. And I had thanked her and told her, what my plans were, because I was really wanting to start telling my story or start just talking, and having conversations and just sharing different viewpoints and whatnot. But that was literally a year ago. So the question is, what were you supposed to do a year ago that you haven't done now? And once you figure out what that one thing is, figure out why you haven't started or what has been the delay. So I think for me, a lot of times when we have ideas, we spend a lot of time planning. We spend a lot of time in the nitty-gritty of stuff because we want everything perfect. We want everything to fit the part. The problem with that is that when we do that, we spend too much time within the details and not focusing on really what the main picture is, which is basically your goal or what it is that you want to do. And when we get caught up in the details, I don't think it's that we're purposely trying to procrastinate, but I think we're trying to make something perfect. And a lot of times you have to kind of just have to step out on things, even if it's just a little step. You have to take a step because one step is better than no steps at all. And so I kept thinking about it, and then I made a whole page. I made a podcast page. I made the logo and everything. But what good is a logo if you don't do anything with the logo? It's just a logo. It's just a page. And so a lot of times we have these ideas and we just sit and whatnot. And I truly believe that God does meet us where we start on things because, the Holy Spirit with our gifts and talents will give us the ideas. Every, good and perfect gift does come from above. So the things that we are able to do and create that makes us stand out from others, the Lord wants us to be fruitful within that. And so I don't remember why I never started. I think it was just fun to have the idea. And I think that's the thing. We get ideas and we just have fun with it. And we just get caught up in the thought process, but we never go forth and do it. So what was the thing a year ago that you said you're going to do? Was that writing a book? Was it teaching your own type of class? Was it hosting a workshop? Was it painting a picture? Was it you were going to start working out 3 or 4 or 5 days a week? Were you going to try a new class? Were you going to travel to a new country, visit an old friend? What was the thing that you want to do to fulfill something better for yourselves? And I want us to think about that because now it's August. And when I'm recording this, it's August 12th. So what were you supposed to do last year that you haven't done yet? But what I want to encourage you is that you still have time. If you're breathing, if you're able to see, if you're able to walk, able to talk, even if you can't walk for a reason, or if there's something that you have a disability or something, I want you to know that you still have the ability to do something. And I don't want you to look at your current situation as a limitations, because if we look at what we're doing as a limitation, we limit ourselves and we limit our progress. And then we start looking at others and we start comparing. The difference between you and them is that they're just doing it. That's only the main difference. They're just doing it. So the more you move, the more God will continue to help you and whatnot. Now, definitely pray. Definitely ask the Lord for guidance before you step out on anything. I do believe timing is everything, but I do believe procrastination can and will delay you from going out on further things. And so, like I said, the good thing is it's August. The good thing is you still have the rest of the year, 4 or 5, 6 months to accomplish whatever it is that you wanted to do. So another thing is a little over a year ago, my sister bought me a mannequin. I had told her I wanted to learn how to do hair. She got me that in December of 2024, right? Because it's 2025. And I'm just now learning how to cornrow on the mannequin head. Like, I just picked it up and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it. So what use is of something, of you having something to offer or do a practice? What use are you doing, or what benefit if it's just sitting there? You might as well take it, put it in the box, and ship it back and let somebody else take use of it. I'm just saying. The idea, the book, the idea. So if you're not going to do anything with it, either make up in your mind it's all or nothing, because all or nothing is I'm going to give it my all. Nothing is I'm not going to give nothing. It's I'm just going to not invest in this. And I do believe starting at one idea or one goal at a time does help and whatnot. But I made a post, I think about a year ago or so, and I said, if you wrote down every gift and talent that comes to your mind, I said you could have about 5 businesses by the end of the year. Literally. And if I were to, you can apply that to yourself, thinking about everything that you are able to do. There's about, I guarantee you, 5 ways that you can create a business within that. For people that are in fitness, if I'm a fitness instructor, one business is personal training. Second business is your group fitness training. You can do group fitness classes. Your third one is meal prepping, helping people create meal ideas and being able to do that. Number 4, you can create and sell workouts, in ebooks. And of course, I would say the 5th one kind of goes along with the online coaching, but you can teach other people how to start in your own industry. So that was about 5 or so ideas that somebody in fitness could apply. But what I'm saying is, whatever industry you're in, there's about 4 or 5 businesses or ways that you can monetize and make money off your gift and talent. And so just like I'm just starting this podcast, even though it's a year later, even though I'm just now starting to learn how to do hair, learning a new style, it's a year later, I'm starting. And I would encourage you, I know it sounds cliche and whatnot, but I want you to start. And not only do I want you to start, well, actually before that, believe that you can actually accomplish what it is that you want to do. Because mindset is everything. So if you don't believe you're going to be able to accomplish something, or you have an idea of something's going to fail before you even start, you've already set the foundation of what it is you're going to do. You're basically almost saying, well, this isn't going to work. So then what happens is you start on the work, and then when it doesn't really show up the way that you want it to show up or start, you just give up. And that's just not the way to go about things. Once you make up in your mind, I'm going to do this. I can do this. I can accomplish this. I'm going to be able to get this done. My father said, in business, or when you're building something, or whenever you're going after something, he said the worst thing somebody could really say is no. The worst thing that people could look at you and just say no, in denial. I teach dance fitness. Not everybody likes my class. I'm not for everybody. And that's another thing. You're not supposed to be for everybody. So you're going to have to get out of this mindset of pleasing people in what it is that you're doing, and realize whether you're trying to do everything right or not, people are going to like you, and then there's going to be people that are not going to like you. And when I had taught my first class here in Georgia, I remember I was watching the faces of the people in the class, And I was noticing it was like kind of too much. Like they were almost getting irritated because it was just so many movements. So in that moment, I was starting to shrink down. I was like, okay, guys, close your eyes, like raise your hand if you're having fun. And okay, give me thumbs up, thumbs down. And then I was wanting to take off certain songs because I was trying to please the crowd. You're not going to be able to grow effectively if you're always trying to please the crowd. First of all, you need to be seeking to please God. And don't do things for men. Do it for God. Do it for yourself. And when we look to please the crowd, we're looking for certain reactions. And so that's how the people pleasing, and that's how we start compromising. That's when we start not really being able to do what we need to do, fulfilling, because we're trying to set a standard for the crowd to affirm us. And so if their reaction is, oh no, this business idea, or if you post your business and you just get one like, you can't use that as a way to validate if what you're building is effective or not. A like on social media, with you have 200 likes or 2 likes. The question is, if you got 2 sales in them 2 likes, it was effective. Because how many times do we get a bunch of likes and then no traction or motion? But it'd be some of them low posts where we might get something. We might get a DM or something. So you can't look at how things are being presented face forward and take that as, okay, well, this is just going what's going to be. And if you have a negative mindset towards it, then what do you expect the tree to bear? What do you expect it to bear? You want it to bear the good fruit or the bad fruit? Because whatever you plant, that's exactly what you're going to get. So if you start to dig up your garden, if you start to say, okay, I'm going to create a garden, and you start sowing your seeds, and as you're putting in the seeds, when we think about a garden, oftentimes you're planting in a muddy place. You're planting in a place that's dirty. It's kind of uncertain down there in that soil. I don't know much about gardening. I'm just kind of thinking off top here. The soil is dirty, but you have an idea of a flower, a rose, whatever other flowers they got. We just going to say a rose. Let's just say you have an idea, of growing a beautiful flower, but you're going to have to do some digging first. You're going to have to get the proper tools that you need to dig in the ground. You're going to have to make sure that you tend the foundation, because if you don't get the foundation right, you're not going to be able to effectively grow something. And so once you get the right tools, and once you get the right seeds, because you have to have the right seeds. You can't grow a right flower if you have a bad seed in there. So you got to make sure the seed of the foundation is correct. And then once you plant that seed, it's your job. Not anybody else's job. It's your job to maintain that seed now. Now you have to watch it. You have to, I believe they have like different food and stuff, or garden food or water. Y'all forgive me. Like I said, I'm not a gardener. So I just know, I'm just going off things I've seen. But you just have to tend to the garden. You have to pay attention. So once you start planting it, once you start watering it, you'll see that seed is no longer a seed. It's now becoming something, because I didn't give up on it. So if you put a seed, in the ground, and then you just walk away, and then you're like, okay, 2 days later, I'm going to go back to it. And then you water it again. Okay. And then you go home, you go to sleep, and then you forget. So now your seed is not at risk of dying prematurely because you're not tending to it properly. And that's dangerous. And so what happens when something comes in to try to take up that seed or try to disrupt the growth of it? We want to plant, but we also want to see things grow. And it's the same thing when we are building something. You're going to have to start in a dirty place. You may have to start alone. You may have to start with $1 to your name. You may have to just start with nothing. Use with what you have, the gifts and talents. What you have is enough. What you have is enough. If you can record your podcast on your phone, if it has voice memos, you got that. And then you got all these type of apps now that can do AI and enhance your audio. There's no excuse. So I say all that to say, just start, just start, and finish out this year accomplishing those goals that you said you're going to do. Because guess what? Time is going to go on. The year is going to pass on. People are living. People are passing away. People are starting new things. And you don't want to, you want to fulfill the things that God has given you. You want to go after what it is. So if that idea keeps coming back, or you just do it, do it. And so that's our first podcast, y'all. Just start. Just start. Plant the right seeds. Tend to your garden. And just start. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I hope somewhere in the conversation you learned something. And somewhere in the conversation you were able to take something away and apply it to your life. This is Amaya. I'm going to be doing weekly episodes. I'm not going to say a particular day, but just know I'm going to be releasing 1 to 2 episodes a week, but we're going to shoot at least for 1 episode. So thank you to all who are going to listen, family, friends. I appreciate you all. Let me know. Make sure you save, download the podcast, share it with someone that you think would love to take a lesson. And yes, be blessed. And I will talk to you guys later.